Thanks for tuning in to the Charles Novell School of Music podcast, The Best Day Yet. Here you'll find tips, insight, and information to help your music and your ministry succeed. Whether you're a singer, a musician, or a songwriter, we want to help you where you are, but we also want to help you get to where you want to go. We believe that our talents are God's gift to us, but what we do with those are our gift back to God. Yesterday's information is important, but what we can learn today will make this the best day yet. Hello and welcome to the CNS podcast, The Best Day Yet. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. You all, we just finished CNS23 we finished on Friday night. We stayed over, we check out on Saturday. So you guys, I am still on cloud nine from the amazing week that we had. I can't help but start by saying this. I had someone ask me a couple weeks prior to CNS23, maybe a little snarky, hey, who did you invite for your evening concerts? And my response was this: Jesus. That's who we invited. Hey man, I specifically, through prayer, asked God to show up in a special way at CNS23. And guys, when I say he did, man, he absolutely did. It was first and foremost, lives were touched and lives were changed during the week. And School of Music, yes, we're there to teach music 110%. But first and foremost, it is about making sure people meet Jesus before they meet us, any of our staff, any of our guests, any of the artists that come in for concerts. So mission accomplished. God showed up. We had a couple particular evenings, one in particular where the altars were just full of people at the end of the concert. And y'all, that's why we do what we do. Dad would have been completely, his big word, he would have said this. If he had seen CNS23, he would have said, Robbie, fantastic. But he would absolutely, many a times growing up, I remember my dad right in the middle of a song would be playing that piano, and depending how the service was going, he might be banging that piano. He'd jump up, he'd take him a lap around the church, and then sit back down at that piano and just pick up and keep playing like he was there the whole time. He would have ran a lap around that entire university, seeing what God did in the lives of our students. So I'm going to take today's episode just to kind of recap what happened at CNS23. And if you weren't there and you listen to this and say, boy, I missed out, you know what? No apologies, because you're going to say, boy, I missed out. Hey, if any of our students that were with us are listening to today's episode, thank you. It's because of you that we had this successful week. We don't do a school without students. Last I checked, that's a real important part of the educational formula and equation, is having students in the seats. So our students showed up, man, crazy talent was in the house this year. It was unbelievable what we had there. So we're going to take, again, some time today just to kind of recap the week, talk a little bit about that. So let's start right off the bat with Monday. Monday, we started the day. Well, hang on. I'm going to back up to Sunday. Our check-in procedure, y'all, this year was probably the smoothest that it's ever been. The university was prepared for us. They had everything in place, which hasn't happened on a given year. We've kind of come into some surprises in the past, but they were prepped and ready, and it allowed us to come in, get set up, and do what we need. We come in on Friday. Corey, who's our administrative assistant and our events coordinator, she came in with us on Friday. We began to get things set up. Saturday, our staff rolled in. We had an amazing just time of fellowship with our staff and a great meeting. We were able just to kind of go down everything schedule wise, top to bottom for the entire week, and let our staff just feel a little bit more settled in and ready to go. Sometimes because of ministry engagements and different reasons, we can't get everybody there until a little later on Sunday. So they're feeling a little rushed coming in, getting unpacked and checked in a room, and then, a little bit of sleep and up and running on Monday morning. We hit the ground running on Monday morning. So brought the staff in a little early this year. That was a win, and really enjoyed that time with them. So Sunday check-in went great. We met a lot of new students this year. That was the exciting part. A lot of new faces, and hopefully we see those faces back with us next year. So we started Monday morning, time in the Word and devotions. We start every day with devotions. Man, it's Robbie's. My dad would say, Robbie, it's about priorities. We've got to give God the first fruits of our day. So we meet for devotions every morning from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. We have time in the Word. I've got an amazing staff that I can lean on and say, hey, I need you to do devotions on Monday, or you've got Thursday. It's real easy for me to not delegate, but just ask someone to share their heart. And my stance on this is, hey, let God speak to you so he can speak through you. I don't tell them what to speak on. I don't tell them what to prepare. I want them to come and share with the students what God has for them to share with our students. So Monday morning, we started with Pastor John Groves, some time in the Word. We broke from there and went right in to our first performance training session. Performance training is where the students get up and they perform, be it their vocal performance or instrumental performance or both. Some of our students sing with tracks, some play with guitar, some sing with the piano. We had a lot of songwriters this year, and what was neat in our performance training was to see some of our writers that don't necessarily consider themselves artists kind of got out of the box. They kind of pushed themselves to get up and perform their own songs. So performance training is always one of the favorite classes during the week at the Charles Novell School of Music. And here's the cool thing with our enrollment, where it was this year, we were maxed out with students. We have 2 sessions of performance training a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. But our facilities there at Murray State University, we have their entire fine arts building for the entire week. So we have a main auditorium that's called the Performing Arts Hall. That's where we do all the evening concerts. That's where we do devotions and kind of book in the days. We start the day together as a full student body. We close it out in the evenings with evening concerts on the Performing Arts Hall. But we also have another auditorium called Farrell Recital Hall up on the 3rd floor of the Fine Arts Building. And we did something different this year with the numbers that we had coming to allow space for them to partake and be part of performance training. We had simultaneously performance training sessions going on in both auditoriums. We split the student enrollment down the middle, and we sent half to Farrell Auditorium, half were in the Performing Arts Hall. And this allowed us to get through, we did it in the morning, we did it in the afternoon. So we had 4 sessions of performance training a day. That class is an hour. We can get through 6 students and critiques from our staff and different guests that come in during the day. We can get through 6 of those in an hour. So we were doing 24 a day as we rolled through the week. And that class is so special because the interaction between our faculty members, our guests, and the students, special moments happen in there. If you've seen any of the footage floating around social media, first year that we had Allison Spear on the staff, and you all, Allison Spear, first and foremost, is just an amazing human. She is such a joy to be around. She's funny as the day is long. She's just very personable. You start talking to Allison Spear and you feel like you've known her forever. There's one particular video floating around where she got up on the stage and was helping this young lady with some interpretive ideas for her performance, ways that you can connect better with the audience. Here's the thing. It's all about connecting with this person that is listening to you. This class is about removing distractions, things that stand in the way of you being able to minister to someone. So she's up in this video, and it's priceless what she was doing for this young lady in the setting. Michael Booth was with us all week long. What an honor it was to have Michael there. Last year we had him in for an afternoon and an evening concert. He contacted me, and the next morning, last year he did Monday night of CNS23. I woke the next morning to a text and then a phone call. Michael saying, Robbie, what are the dates for your school next year? If you'll have me, I want to come and I want to stay as long in the week as I possibly can. He said, I showed up yesterday to minister to your students, to encourage your students, and I left ministered to and encouraged. And man, that's just the special thing with an experience at CNS. So he was with us all week. Michael did the same thing. At times he would listen to the performance, he would critique the performance, he would offer some suggestions, and then he'd ask them to come back up and show them what he thought they could do to be more effective with the delivery of that song. And y'all, that's in what we do. The most important thing is making sure that someone understands the gospel of Jesus Christ. So again, if we've got things that we're doing within our performance that stand in the way of that, those are serving as distractions. We just need to get those out of the way. So what an amazing class we had there. We had different guests in and out all week that were part of these performance training sessions. And so for the students, that's the benefit. For us as a faculty and a staff, man, we get blessed while these students are up there singing their songs, and some of the original songs that we hear from the writers. It's unbelievable how this is a two-way street. As I shared with Michael, same thing happens to me. I came this year with expecting the unexpected. I had a few questions that God and I were talking about with Rob personally and my ministry and some things that I'm doing. And it was so neat to see how God spoke to me through different settings, different students, and different songs that were shared during the week. It's a two-way street, y'all. Students leave motivated, encouraged, uplifted. So do I as the director, and so does my staff and my guests and the artists that come in. So that's performance training. And then Monday at 10 o'clock, we broke into 4 different sessions, kind of breakout sessions where you're going to pick somewhere that you're going to go. We had piano labs all week at 10 o'clock with James Rainey. What an amazing pianist that James is. And he's a great pianist, and his solos are ridiculous. But man, his ability just to accompany and to teach that and to show our students how important that is, because man, Q Kenny Rogers here. You got to know when to hold them and you got to know when to fold them. And so, yeah, I guess publicly I'm saying James Rainey's a great poker player. No, I kid. But man, James is great in showing, man, it's important just to lay back here, kind of get in the pocket here, man, mash on the gas pedal and go here. Just, it was so neat to be able to sit in that piano lab and learn from a guy like a James Rainey, but also other staff members, Dana Simpson, Keith Barkley, myself. I got on Wednesday to do the piano lab, and then we bookended on Friday. Roy Webb was in on Thursday and Friday with us, and man, what a gifted player that Roy is. Roy traveled with Ernie Haas's Signature Sound, also was a pianist for the Gold City Quartet, and to have Roy there bringing that level of experience and expertise to our students, it's unbelievable. So Roy finished that up on Friday. We also had just some kind of random seminars in this 10 o'clock slot. And on Monday, Danny Jones from the Singing News magazine. I mean, you think Singing News, you think Danny Jones? Danny Jones drove up on Monday, spent time talking to our students on basically how to find their call, how to do what God has called you to do, how to find a path into your music ministry and into Christian and gospel music. So, man, having guys like Danny Jones come in is unbelievable. We also had a sound and technology class that happened all week. We will have churches send their sound technician to the school to get some training for the week. But, you know, where we are is 2023. A lot has happened. A lot has changed. A lot has streamlined. A lot has gotten easier. A lot has gone online. A lot is now streamed. So many things are happening in this area of sound and technology and audio that we also added a technology side to this year. So we had 3 days in this block that were designated to sound. We had 2 of those days that was designated to technology. Shannon Newman, one of our staff members, has been with us for a while now. He headed up that class. And then we had vocal labs that happened at 10 o'clock every day. Man, they were taught by Monday, Jonathan Wilburn. Tuesday, Marianne Oglesby Southerly. Wednesday, Michael Booth. Paul Secord on Thursday. And then Marianne, she just has got a lot to say. She's long-winded, so we had to give her 2 sessions to get it all out. You know, some of them older people, they just like to talk, you know. So Marianne did 2 of those sessions for us. Jonathan Wilburn was with us Monday, Tuesday. Unbelievable talent, but unbelievable heart for people in ministry that Jonathan Wilburn has. And for him to be able to speak into our vocalist, for Michael Booths to be able to speak into our vocalist, in addition to our staff that are trained and qualified people to be there. I was sharing with somebody today, there's 3 qualifications for me when I put somebody on the staff. Number 1, I need to know their spiritual walk. Number 2, I need to know that they're capable of teaching for us musically at a school of music. Number 3, I need to be able to trust these people. So I can't be in every room all the time. These are individuals that are going to be able to deliver the goods, but in a way that's going to be done constructively, out of love, and from their heart, because their heart, like Jonathan Wilburn's, is foremost ministry. So Jonathan spoke in that session. We broke for lunch every day at 11. We came back at 12. We had our theory classes. We're big on music theory at the Charlestonville School of Music. I am big on music theory at the Charlestonville School of Music. And last I checked, I'm running this thing, so I'm going to make sure we have theory. Theory is just vitally important. We want to be able to read. We want to be able to write. We want to understand harmonization. We want to understand our different keys in music. We want to understand chords and how to build them, majors, minors, augmented, diminished. When we know that, we avoid playing the most common used chord in music, which is called the demolished chord. So theory's big. It's important, and we're going to always have 3 levels of theory: a beginning, an intermediate, and advanced. But new this year, we had a beginning piano class. I taught this class. We got access this year to the keyboard lab inside the fine arts department there at Murray State University. I opened that door at the beginning of the week when we got there, or the weekend prior to the school starting, and 20 keyboards sitting in that room with one for me to teach from. And we had 27 students in this room that came to learn how to, they hadn't played. They came in there to learn how to play. And the exciting thing is by the end of the week, I had them chording through several songs, like 3 or 4 songs, but also we taught accompaniment. So we taught them just how to chord in a specific key. We taught them in C major to get them going, but we also got them reading and got playing melodies. And by Friday, they were playing melody in the right hand along with chords in the left hand. Just amazing what we pulled off in 5 days. We have a lot of teaching books and curriculum inside of our what we call our CNS teaching series, and we had just released a brand new beginning piano course for the Christian and gospel player. I put the book together. It was geared at them learning how to play. Nothing wrong with London Bridge and, Yankee Doodle and Jingle Bells, but every song in this book, as they learn a technique, a principle, and they learn to play, they're playing a Christian song. So that was just really, really super cool. So that went really well. 1 o'clock each day, guys, ended up being my favorite and the highlight of the week for me. At 1 o'clock each day, historically, that has been a guest lecture. We've brought in someone special to just speak to our students, off the cuff sometimes. There's been times I'm like, hey, we've had some questions we got a need here. You're versed in that area. Would you speak on this? But we did it different this year. You're listening right now to the Best Day Yet podcast. And what we did with this 1 o'clock session, and I am so excited to say this, we did what we called the Best Day Yet Live. With my guests this year, what I did, we set it up kind of interview format. We had a cool setting on stage. There was a couch for the guest. I had a chair. We had a table with waters on it and a banner showing our logo for the Best Day Yet podcast. And I was able to interview our special guests this year. We recorded those sessions, and they will be coming out as future episodes of CNS, the Best Day Yet's podcast. So that included guests like Jonathan Wilburn on Monday. That included Michael Booth and Danny Funderburk on Tuesday. Dave Clark, just a prolific songwriter. Just crazy what all Dave has done. Dave was recognized by BMI this past spring for celebrating 5 straight decades with a #1 hit. Artists from Sandy Patty, Larno Harris, For Him, Point of Grace, Phillips, Craig, and Dean, to Karen Peck and New River and the Cathedrals, and so many groups. Dave was our guest on Wednesday. That was a fun day. Thursday, Scott Godsey from Godsey Media was in the house, and we got to talk all things industry related, where the industry's going, what different events are looking like that he oversees. Scott owns Singing News magazine, so that has him over Singing News Radio, Singing News TV. He has the Gospel Greats radio program. Is responsible for events like 40 Days and Nights at the Ark, and on Singing in the Sun, Graceland out at Memphis. So he is one of those people. We always say it this way: ask the right person the right question to get the right answer. Scott Godsey was that guy on Thursday. That's going to be a great future podcast coming out. And then on Friday, we had John Mays. John Mays has been a big part of my music and influence on my life growing up. He was a bass guitar instructor of mine at the school when I was younger. John has worked with Word and Sparrow, Benson. Currently, he's with his own company called Centricity Music. Current artists like Lauren Daigle that he signed to this label that he's working with, but he's worked with so many people through the years. One little up and coming soprano in Christian music named Sandy Patty. I didn't even know this till the interview, but the song Love in Any Language, John actually co-wrote that song that kind of shifted her career. So we were joined by a special guest that day. In addition to John, Billy Blackwood was part of that session with us. And John and Billy traveled together in a group called Andres Blackwood and Company in the 80s. And man, it was just so fun hearing stories and some things you won't see this or hear this actually on the podcast, but we played a special video of them doing something that they used to do during those years when they toured with ABC, Andres Blackwood and Company. So those 1 o'clock sessions were just fun and educational, and they're coming your way. So be watching for those. 2 o'clock, we had another breakout. We had an entire line all week long, Monday through Friday, on senior ministry, headed up by Mary Ann Oglesby Southerly. Mary Ann runs the Veranda in Nashville. It's a place for seniors dealing with dementia. And Mary Ann has found the amazing power behind music and the healing aspects that it can have in the area of dementia and Alzheimer's, and it's so many things. And she brings such a wealth. We have a lot of students that come that have senior ministries, and they were able to gather information through that for their ministries. Songwriting happened as well at 2:00 every day. Songwriting taught by people like Billy Blackwood, Dave Clark, Rodney Griffin, Allison Durham Spear, and myself. I got to do songwriting. Songwriting classes were great this year. We had another we had a session called Ask a Pastor with one of our resident staff pastors, Pastor John Grove from Inverness, Florida. We also have Pastor Tim Owens from the Chattanooga area is on our staff. And what we wanted is some of our evangelistic ministries that were there to be able to ask questions and get answers from a pastor's perspective on music evangelism. And so a lot of neat things transpired there. Then we had another afternoon line of more vocal labs. We offered 10 vocal labs this year, and really honestly believe we were able to get a lot of information to our singers through these 10 vocal labs that we had. 3:00 in the afternoon, we break into another performance training session. We talked about those earlier, how we had 4 a day. We were getting through 24 a day. In addition to that, in the afternoon, we have a worship track that meets for 2 hours each and every afternoon, where the first hour they are teaching what worship is, what a worship service is like, what a worship set in your church service is like, and headed up by 2 staff members, Tara Jackson, one of our most sought after female vocal teachers, but also Billy Blackwood taught that with her. And so they taught them what it means to have a heartbeat for worship. And then they had rehearsals where they were learning new material, and they're working with vocalists and musicians, drummers, bass players, guitar players, acoustic guitar players, a keyboard player, an auxiliary keyboard player. All of that led to Thursday night. They did a special concert, a night of worship, and man, just truly ushered us into the presence of God. It was so cool to see about 25 students up there on the stage with Tara and Billy doing that on Thursday night. So that happened every afternoon. And then kind of the final block of the day, we had another kind of line of various seminars. We had a young man by the name of Devin Ramon. He was a guest on an earlier podcast this year. He came in and he spoke on social media and the importance of marketing and branding for your ministry, and how you can tap in and take advantage of things like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and these different platforms that are out there that can help you further your ministry. It was great. Paul Secord did a 3-day thing called the Gospel Road Coach. And Paul is one of the most gifted coaches in our gospel and Christian music industry. The man is just so knowledgeable and gifted. He worked on the secular side of entertainment with Disney for years, and what he's done, he's brought those principles over here to our side. He got them saved and sanctified, and is helping us apply those principles to our ministry. So, man, to have a guy like Paul Secord there for 3 days with us is just unbelievable. Scott is the president of Godsey Media Management. They are a management firm helping artists produce quality video, produce quality recording to help them with marketing and branding, pushing a lot of artists to the next level. And to have a guy like that in the house with us, Scott Godsey was there on Thursday to speak, as I mentioned earlier, and just to have these guys there to pour into our students. Unreal that this, I'm just kind of still pinching myself that this happened. The last thing that happened in the day was like our beginning piano class. We had a beginning guitar class. Students coming in that knew nothing about how to play a guitar at the beginning of the week. They left playing multiple songs and multiple chords by the end of the week. Just so exciting. I had the privilege of teaching that class on Thursday. Jim Quayles, our main instructor of that class, was working with our worship team and sound checking for the concert that evening. So I was able to teach that class, and it was on Thursday when I rolled in there and saw what they had already learned in 3 days. It was quite impressive. Quite impressive. So we're teaching people, we're helping people further their gifts that they show up with. But man, we're taking people in certain situations that know nothing about something and have them leaving actually playing instruments, playing chords, and working their way around fretboards and keyboards. It's just very exciting. Final thing I want to talk about, evening concerts. You all, we had ridiculous concerts this year, and some of the things that God decided to interrupt and do in those services, honestly, it's why we do what we do. Monday night, each night, we front the main artist with student talent. We have 6 students that perform each night. We randomly draw them from the students that perform during the day in performance training. We put their names in. We draw out 6 for the evening concerts. The 7th student that performed, we have a theme on the school every year. This year's theme was Then to Now. And as students registered starting back in the spring and March, we introduced them to a songwriting competition that we had for this year's theme. Write a song based around the theme of CNS23, Then to Now. We had a ton of entries this year. It was so exciting to see all the songs that came in. And we selected the top 5, which ended up being 6 because we had a tie. And those songs were performed each night. So in addition to 6 names we drew, we had a 7th student perform, and then we brought the main artist on each evening. And during that, we got to hear some of our staff members play piano solos that evening for the offertory. We have guests that come in. They're free concerts, but we do take a love offering. We have a lot of people that come in from the town, and we want them to be able to sow into the ministry that's happening there. So I had staff members play offerings for those nights. I got to play one of those nights. Then we brought on main artists like on Monday night. James Rainey came out. James Michael Rainey did a piano concert for us, a set. And then Jonathan Wilburn came out. James travels and plays with Jonathan, so they did things together. But Jonathan brings decades of experience in singing and gospel music. His family's group, the Wilburns, for 12 years he traveled, sang lead for Gold City. Songs like I'm Not Giving Up and Are You Ready? I mean, some great songs in the history of that group were sung by Jonathan. And to have him there and to share with our students was phenomenal. Tuesday night, we had a group called Avenue in for the 2nd year in a row. Casey Kemp, Jonathan Mattingly, and there's a girl that sings with them. It's John. I'm embarrassed. It's Casey's wife, but I don't know her name. But anyway, they're great. Great. No, her name is Haley. Everybody, that's a joke. Great group. Danny Funderburk was in the house. If you recognize that name, it's just some small little groups like the Cathedrals, that the guy sang with. Absolutely an amazing tenor singer, and the GOAT, we'll just say it, and gospel music. And I got to travel with Danny when I was in Perfect Heart. We were in Perfect Heart together, and I love Danny, brought Danny in, did a great job. Danny gets done, Casey steps up, says something, and then the Holy Spirit just showed up, and the altars were full of people seeking the Lord and leaving things there on that altar when they got up and went back to their seat. Just an amazing move of God on Tuesday night. Wednesday night was unreal. We had so much happening. We heard from Paul Secord. He sang for us. We heard from Dave Clark. He was in that day as a songwriting guest, and he sang that night. Allison Spear gave us a set that night, and then we ended the night with Michael Booth. It was just an unbelievable night of music and worship. Thursday night, mentioned the night of worship. Prior to them, Roy Webb was with us, and Roy did a piano concert for us that was unbelievable. He's such a gifted player, but he's one of the funniest humans I've ever met in my life. Friday night, we ended with our student talent and our awards ceremony, and all of our students got to perform on Friday night. We gave out different awards for the year, like the Charles Novell Legacy Award, the Jeff Stice Impact Award. We give out what's called the Naomi and Barnabas Awards to a male and a female that were just encouragers like Naomi and Barnabas were in the Bible. We gave those awards out to students. All the students get a certificate. We have fun with something we call the Top Banana Awards, and we did that Friday night. Y'all, CNS23 was a success. First and foremost, because we asked God to show up, and He did. He sent the right students. He sent the right teachers, the right guests, the right artists to speak into every life that was present, including my own. I left so motivated and encouraged. We're going to have news coming out shortly within the next couple weeks about CNS24, the dates, the theme, the title for the year, the location. Will be back at Murray State University in Murray, Kentucky. That information is coming. You all, we realize we have a cap. I'm really encouraging. There's going to be teacher schedules filled quick. I encourage our students at the school to get registered literally by the end of this year, by December 31st. So really excited about sharing that as that information comes out. I say this every day when we go to class because the name of our podcast came from my dad for over 50 years. When we would end devotions and we would send the students off to class, he would say, hey, you thought yesterday was great. You thought we did a lot of cool things yesterday. Nothing like what's going to happen today, because today is going to be your best day yet. Y'all be blessed, and we'll talk next week. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the Charles Novell School of Music podcast, The Best Day Yet. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under the name the Charles Novell School of Music. And for more information on CNS and our upcoming events, like our online school, our weekend regional sessions, our creative coaching, and our pastor's retreat, you can visit us at our website at www.cnsmusic.com. As you've listened to this episode, we hope that you've gained some information that you can apply to your music and to your ministry to make today the best day yet.